All right, so we're going to be presenting compensation. Myself, Malcolm, Rebecca, Taylor, and Edward. And I'm going to start with how to determine compensation. So the way to determine it is to you first have to find out if you're going to be paid hourly or you're going to have a salary. And the definition is money received by an employee from an employer as salary or wages. So usually a salary will give you a more long-term job because that you get paid monthly or bi-weekly, and it's an annual sum. So like the end of the year, you just get that amount. It's more white-collar workers that have this, and you're given like a set schedule with set sick days, vacation days, that kind of stuff. Hourly wage is more like part-time jobs where you get paid based on how many hours you work a week, and it's a set dollar figure for each of those hours, and you get like a new schedule every week, that kind of thing. So the difference between part-time job, full-time job, disability job, temporary jobs, these are all jobs that you can have that'll give you, like, determine how you get paid in those jobs. So a full-time job, it's usually anywhere from 35 to 40 hours a week, but it's determined by your employer, and there's a minimum. Anything over 40 hours is overtime, and you usually get a full-time job when it's your main obligation. You don't have school to go to, you don't have other jobs. So part-time job is when it's not your main obligation. So usually you're working less than 30 hours a week. You have something else to do, so like anyone that has a job here is probably a part-time job. Yeah. So access jobs or disability jobs, there's two different ways that this can kind of be. You either get hurt on the job and you get paid for the time you miss, or you can work a job that like accommodates to your disability. So like my shop right at home hires kids, like they work hand in hand with the high school to hire kids with mental disabilities to give them something to do. So a temporary job, something like a summer job, you still get a minimum wage usually, and the minimum wage is $1 lower because it's a temporary job set by the state. This includes months of June, July, and August. So when you get paid, you need something to do with that money, so you open bank accounts. These are just places to keep your money. Usually students have small checkings, small savings, that kind of thing. As you get older, you make investments, you put it into other things, and even now it's good to start investing, using your compensation to put things into other things that'll give you money back, either in a greater fund or at least with some interest or something like that. It's a good way to hold your money if you can't, put it all in a bank account. And 401ks are retirement plans, saving plans. My parents always taught me to do this, right out of college, just start saving. They did it for me, and I'm going to go through college debt, get out of college debt free. So another thing that goes hand in hand with compensation is benefits. Working a full-time job is usually when you get them, the most you can get. And then it's a payment or a gift made by an employer or the state or insurance. So benefits can include things like health care, tuition reimbursement, retirement funds. Sometimes they'll give you stock in your company. So it includes coverage for basically everything you need. So along with that goes the law side of it. There's obviously laws in place so that there's no bias when you're getting hired, no bias when you're getting paid, so everyone can be paid the same, well, not the same, but start somewhere in there. So bonuses, that's something that goes along with compensation too. You usually earn bonuses, raises, increases in salary, just through experience in the workplace. As you go on and you work there for extended periods of time, you get more bonuses, more salary increases. So education is also a determinant of compensation. The better school you go to, obviously the better job you can get, the better pay you can get, higher GPAs you have, the better pay you can get. So you just start in a higher place. Performance is key to compensation. Obviously, if you're not performing at your job, you're going to get fired and you're not going to get paid. So as you perform better and more diligently, it leads to higher and higher compensations. So another thing is connections and recommendations. This can get you higher compensation if you know people that can talk to your employer or help you get a job. It helps, and then next, Malcolm's going to go into payment versus performance. So yeah.
Alright, I'm Malcolm, and today I'm going to be going over the connections between pay and performance. Pay and performance work hand in hand with each other, and the more you perform and the better you do perform, usually relates to you getting paid more in your job field. So an overview of what I'm going to be talking about is pay and the different types, performance and productivity, quantity versus quality and workload, occupations and job titles, pay and performance, and the relationship between those two things. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is pay, and pay is pretty much what the money you're getting for doing the job that you are doing. Most people do get paid for the hours that they work, which is a part-time job, or depending upon how much they perform during that job that they do. Different types of pays are wages, salaries, commissions, and then within that there's overtime, raises, and bonuses. And I know Austin has talked about that, but I'm going to talk about it a little more today. And the three most common types of pay are wages, salaries, and commissions. So wages are pretty much you working, and then the time that you work is equal to the amount of money you're going to be getting. Wages are usually per hour, and they're a fixed regular amount that you typically get on a weekly or bi-weekly basis from an employer to an employee. And it's usually for people that work part-time jobs now instead of the big-time jobs you get hopefully out of college. Salaries are a fixed regular payment, typically on a monthly or bi-weekly basis, but often expressed as an annual sum made by an employer to an employee, and that's mostly for white-collar professionals or just the professional work in general. So once we all get out of school and get our full-time jobs, we'd be getting paid on a salary basis, and that's the big number you see usually at how much you're going to be getting paid. Commissions are a sum of money that is paid to an employee upon completion of a task, usually a certain amount of goods or services. The most known type of commission job is a car salesman, and what they do is they get paid based on the amount of cars they sell during that day or week. Overtime is time in addition to what is normal as time worked beyond one's scheduled working hours. So pretty much the more you work after you're supposed to be clocking out is the more you get paid. And the most common type of overtime is time and a half, which is the moment you stop work and you get half of the pay for every hour you work. Raises are an increase in salary, and usually if your boss sees that you are doing an exceptionally well job at what you are doing, they'll raise your salary or wage depending upon what kind of job you have. And that pay usually stays there until you get another raise or until you quit the job. A bonus is an amount of money added to the wages on a seasonal basis, especially as a reward for good performance. The most common type of bonus is a Christmas bonus that you may have gotten, if you work around the holidays. It's pretty much a thank you for your time and what you do here, and that you were doing a good job while you were here. Next, I'm going to talk about productivity and performance. Productivity and performance are something else that goes hand in hand, and it shows how productive you are and how that will result in how well you perform, which are two big factors in how much you get paid. So what is productivity? Productivity is the action of making or manufacturing from components of raw materials or the process of being manufactured. Productivity doesn't always have to be something tangible. It could be intangible, such as inputting numbers into a system for any accounting or finance type of job. And productivity doesn't have to be, just sitting there doing nothing, just inputting into the computer. What is performance? Performance is the action or process of carrying out or accomplishing an action, task, or function. Performance basically is how well you are doing your job and how poorly you are doing your job. Your boss is always looking at the performance and whether or not you're completing the tasks within the time frame that they give you. Next is quantity, which is quality. Quantity is the amount or number of material being made or done, and quality is the degree of excellence. A lot of people think that it should be quality over quantity, but I feel like if you can have a good balance between the two, that is how you're going to perform and produce at the best of your ability. Workload. So workload is pretty much the amount of work that you have to do. And as college students, we all have different types of workloads depending upon what our major is and how many classes we are taking. And I feel like it doesn't matter the quantity of the workload, just you have to make sure that the work is quality and that you perform and produce at the best of your ability. Some occupations. Based on the job that you get out of school will depend on how much you get paid. And some jobs pay more than others because of the amount of work that you have to do and the performance that you have to do. Which is why electrical engineers get paid more than buyers or technical writers, because they do more work and they are set at a higher standard for what they have to do. Job title and pay. Titles such as lead, director, senior, president, chief, and founder are shown to have increases in pay. If you have a title lead in your name, it is an increase usually of $23,000, director $21,000, and senior $20,000. Performance-related pay. Any system that relates to rewards of an individual employee to the performance of an organization that he or she works for. The three different types of ways you can recognize your employees are to give them freedom and time off, make them rewards such as personal to them, or different peer-to-peer evaluations. So what I talked about today was pay and performance and how they are related. In this graph you have performance increasing as pay increases, and most of the time the better that you do perform, the more you will get paid, although that is not always the situation. That is my presentation on the connection between pay and performance, and next is Rebecca with fairness and compensation.
Like Malcolm said, my name is Rebecca Adams, and I will be presenting on fairness and compensation. I'll be going over the types of fairness. There are two types, and how employees view fairness and what they base their decisions off of on how they view it. I'll review the effects of unfair treatment and the criteria and standards. Once the market data research is done and salary planning is accomplished in the line of the organization's compensation program, then you are ready to show and communicate these results with the employees. How you approach these conversations have a huge impact on the employees' ideas of fairness based on the organization's compensation system, and it has just a big impact on how the compensation program will go based on what the employees' view is. There are two sides to fair compensation. One of them is objective compensation, which means that it's the outside perspective of a program, like